Thanks for spending time with me again on quantum relationships. I'm Lisa Jayne, and I'm here to have some really deep and insightful discussions on our hearts. Today, I want to talk about heart or habit. I was thinking about this the other day because I'm doing a series of talks around the Sunshine Coast, and I've been telling my story. My story starts with me sitting on a ski lift enjoying the vista. It was a magnificent day. One of those days in the snow where, the snow is amazing. There's been a fresh flurry of snow, the sun is shining, you're sitting there in your t-shirt, you're on the ski lift with your husband, and you think this should be a perfect moment, right? And as I looked over the vista, just in so much awe and gratitude at nature and its beauty, my eyes came to rest on my husband. And I realized in that moment I felt absolutely nothing. I think because it was such a contrast, right, between this beauty and the feeling, this awe inspiring feeling, and then this feeling of nothing. And I searched around. I thought, I've got to feel something like warmth, friendship, you name it. Nope, nothing. And so I did what my training had taught me to do. I completely shut it down and just went on with my day. It was another couple of years before I even recalled that memory. I find that so fascinating. I find it so fascinating that I could have had such a powerful experience, had this incredible recognition, and that there was something inside of me that could completely shut down that memory. I didn't even think of that again until a couple of years later when I actually was leaving my husband. So, what was it in me that has that much power to shut me down like that? And what did I do? Like, what sort of relationship was I in for 2 years if my heart wasn't in it? Like, don't you find that fascinating? I find that so fascinating. I pondered on this for so long because I really believe that there's something in the way we've been programmed to do relationships that keeps us trapped in this spectrum and we can't even see out of it. When I look back, I sort of feel like there was something that, and I refer to it probably now as the wounded child in me, who had her hands over my eyes so I couldn't see the reality, so that I didn't question when I should have been questioning. So I didn't ask myself questions like, why was I feeling nothing? And what was it in me that shut me down so quickly? I never asked those questions until years later. I remember thinking when I was in this relationship, you know, I just can't imagine being without this person. It's like they're an attachment to my body, like an arm or a leg, like you'd miss them if they were gone, but they're just there. And I actually thought that was a little bit normal. But now looking back, that was habit, right? That's a habit. I was performing a habit of relationship because that's what I'd always done. And I was in this habit of relationship because it felt familiar. It certainly wasn't comfortable because I always felt like I was walking on eggshells. We would have some sort of blow up and we could never communicate the way we felt. So we never, ever felt like we resolved anything. I would get the silent treatment. He would get me crying my heart out on the bed and feeling bereft and alone. Like we never seemed to get past that. It was this pattern again and again and again. Different events, of course, but the same pattern. The thing was, though, that vulnerable part of me was really frightened to ask questions and to look beyond what was going on right here and now in case I put it all at risk. in case I had to make sacrifices. But because of that, I actually didn't have a relationship with myself. How could I have? If my heart wasn't in my relationship, where was my heart? I certainly wasn't connected to it because I would have noticed that my heart wasn't here, right? And if my heart's not in my relationship, what is in my relationship? I actually think it was my head. So I'd have a feeling, I'd jump into my head, I'd try and think about how can I fix this moment so that I don't have to feel this uncomfortable. And so my head would be doing all of this. Oh, what could I do next time? How could I do this different? What book can I read? What workshop could I go to? So I'd be thinking my way out of painful emotional experiences every single time. My heart might create an experience of pain. My head would go and try and fix it. Now, it's a bit of a no brainer that a thinking can't fix a feeling. And yet, that's what most of us have been taught to do, right? Very few of us were taught how to feel a feeling and use it to empower ourselves. So when we have a feeling, we do what I did and just shut it down. And there's a couple of ways that many of us deal with feelings, like I did: shut it down, ignore it, get angry, bottle it up. Like, we have so many strategies to deal with discomfort. We've been trained, the majority of us have been trained not to sit comfortably with our feelings. And so we create relationships where most of us play these roles again and again and again, the same cycles. I realized that in doing that, I never seemed to get to a new moment. It was almost like I got stuck when a feeling would come up. The feeling would come up like a wall. I never seemed to go through it and move to the other side of the wall. I just stayed here and cycled around until the next event, which brought up the same feelings. I talk about the spectrum of light and how we only see visible light, which is a small portion of the full spectrum of light. We've got no idea what goes on outside of that spectrum of light, unless, of course, we have certain talents and gifts. But the majority of us, for us, maybe nothing exists because we can't see it. We don't even know that it's there. This is much like our relationships. We stay in a small band of relationship. Those walls stay there because of the patterns that we've developed, the habits that we've developed in our relationships. The habits are very familiar and we feel secure in those habits. We may not feel fulfilled. I might not feel satisfied. I might not feel connected. I might not actually even feel happy and joyful. But I'm going to stay there because the thought of change, the thought of questioning, well, it doesn't even arise in my head because there's a part of me that is too scared to even look. I wanted to bring this up today because I truly believe in order for a relationship to shift and to feel more at ease and connected in my life, I have to start to understand my heart. Connecting with my heart allows me to feel the full experience of my life as it is. And if I understand how to connect with my heart and I understand how to feel my feelings in a way that doesn't make me feel out of control, then I can do relationships completely differently. I can break down those walls. I don't have to do habit anymore. So, can I suggest to you, just stay open to the way you feel. If somebody had told me when I was 18, stay connected to your own heart. And by that, I mean, be there for yourself. Acknowledge that you have a feeling. Have the courage to ask questions. I wonder why I feel that. I wonder why I did that. Because when I connect with me and I actually support me, I show up for myself in this way, I can create deeper connection in all my relationships. I can start to have communications that really matters, that builds more love, that builds more respect, that builds more warmth. That's very different to not communicating the way I feel and restating the same things over and over again, and perhaps even creating the same conflict over and over again. That's a habit, right? So if I want to bring more heart into my relationships, I have to be in my heart more. I have to feel my heart more. I have to start showing up for myself rather than abandoning myself. It truly is worth it because even though our mind will tell us it's a scary place to go and maybe we don't want to go there, that is where the rewards are. That is where the connection is. That is where the warmth and the ease and the joy is. It's through the wall of habit. So if you're brave, I would highly encourage you. Come on the journey with me. Have a look at your heart. Pay attention to your heart. Ask yourself those questions. Be in love with your life. Be in love with your own heart. And then just watch because your relationships will start to reflect that. Sending you love.